Hello dear students, let us discuss about the limitations of valence bond theory of coordination compounds. So, the valence bond theory fails to provide a quantitative account of the stability of the complexes. So that means the valence bond theory only explains the structure and bonding in the coordination compounds, but the valence bond theory doesn't provide any information about the stability of the complexes. So the next one, so the valence bond theory fails to distinguish between strong and weak ligands, and also this theory fails to distinguish between the square planar and the tetrahedral geometry of the complex having the same coordination number. So when coordination number is 4 for a central metal atom or ion, so the some complexes exhibits square planar structure and some other complexes exhibits tetrahedral geometry. But this valence bond theory, it fails to distinguish between the square planar and tetrahedral geometry when the coordination number is 4. So this theory also fails to explain why the electrons transferred from lower energy orbitals to higher energy orbital in presence of strong ligands. So in the previous classes we had discussed about the pairing of the electrons in the central metal ion when the strong ligands approaches. Okay, so it doesn't explain why the electrons from the lower energy will occupy the higher energy orbitals when the strong ligands approaches the central metal ion. Okay, so next we shall discuss other limitations of this valence bond theory. So that is, the valence bond theory fails to explain the thermodynamic properties of the coordination compounds. And also, this theory fails to explain the spectra of coordination complexes. So this theory fails to distinguish between the inner orbital and outer orbital complexes. Okay, so these are the limitations of the valence bond theory. So next we shall discuss about the d orbitals. D orbitals. So the shape of d orbital is double dumbbell. Double dumbbell. Okay. So these d orbitals are 5 in number. So there are 5 d orbitals. That is dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square, and dz square. So these are the 5 sub-energy levels. So these 5 d orbitals are divided into two sets. So the first one is the T2G set. Okay, so that the T2G means triply degenerate orbitals. Triply degenerate orbitals. So these T2G orbitals contains 3 numbers. and are oriented between the axes. So that is the dxy, dyz and dzx. So these three d orbitals are oriented between the axes, so that is x, y and z axis. Okay, and one more set is called as the eg. Okay, so that eg means exempli gracia, so that means doubly degenerate. So this is triply degenerate, this is doubly degenerate. So doubly degenerate, so there are two in number, so that is dx square minus y square and dz square. So these orbitals are oriented between the axes. These are present along the axis, that is x, y and z orbitals. Okay, so these 5 d orbitals are said to be degenerate orbitals. So because all these 5 d orbitals will possess same energy. Okay, so these based on the orientation, so these 5 orbitals can be divided into two sets. One is T2G, triply degenerate orbitals, dxy, dyz, dzx. So these are present between the axes. Okay, so the second set of d orbitals is Eg, that is dx square minus y square and dz square. So these two orbitals are oriented along the axis. Okay. So next, let us discuss about the crystal field theory of coordination compounds. So that is crystal field theory. Crystal field theory of coordination compounds. Okay. So according to the crystal field theory, okay, so in a complex, a central metal ion so let us see the crystal field theory. So this theory was developed by scientists called as Bethe and Van Wyk. So they explained this theory in the form of following postulates. Okay, so according to the crystal field theory, in a complex, the central metal ion is surrounded by ions or molecules with electrical dipoles. Okay, so they are called as the ligands. So the central metal atom or ion is surrounded by the electrical dipoles, which are called as the ligands. So according to this crystal CFT, these ligands are considered as the point charges or point dipoles. So the next one, the bonding between the metal cation and the ligands arises due to the electrostatic attraction between the nucleus of the central metal cation and the partial negative charge present on the ligands. So therefore, the bond between the central metal cation and the ligands is purely ionic. So ionic means the ionic attraction or ionic bond exists when there is an electrostatic force of attraction between the two oppositely charged ions. So here is according to the crystal field theory, the bonding between the central metal cation. So usually the metal cation, so it carries positive charge, and the ligands are, they are negatively charged. Okay, so they are called as a point negative charges. So therefore, the positively charged metal ion and the negatively charged the ligands, so there exists an electrostatic force of attraction. Okay, so that electrostatic force of attraction between the central metal cation and the negatively charged ligands is nothing but it's purely ionic. So that means the bonding between the central metal atom or ion and the ligands according to the CFT is purely ionic. Okay, so next one, the interaction between the electrons of the cation, so that is central metal atom, and those of ligands are entirely repulsive, because the electrons of the cation and the electrons of the ligands, okay, the interaction will be purely repulsive, because the electrons which are present in the central metal atom are negatively charged, and also the electrons of the ligands are also negatively charged. So therefore there will be a repulsive force between the electrons of the central metal atom and the electrons of the ligands. Okay, so these repulsive forces are responsible for the splitting of the d orbitals of the metal atom, metal cation. So that means, so we have discussed here, hmm, because of the repulsive forces of the central metal atom and the negatively charged the ligands. Okay, so the d orbitals will have two sets of energy levels. Okay, two sets of energy levels. Hmm? So the interaction between the electrons of the ligands and the electrons of the central metal atom are responsible for the splitting of the d orbitals of the metal cation. Okay, so there is no overlapping between the metal orbitals and the ligand orbitals. So next one, the d orbitals which are degenerate in free metal ion have their degeneracy destroyed by the approach of the ligands during the formation of the complex. So that means when the ligands approach the central metal atom or ion, so the d orbitals of the central metal ion will get hmm, destroyed. Okay, so that means before the approach of the ligands, all the 5 d orbitals will possess similar energy. That means they are said to be degenerate. So when the ligands approach the central metal atom or ion, so the 5 d orbitals having the degeneracy will split up into two sets of energy levels. So that is T2G and EG. Okay. So these are the postulates of crystal field theory of coordination compounds. So next we shall see what is meant by crystal field splitting. Crystal field splitting. Okay. So as we studied in the last postulate, in this postulate, okay. So the crystal field splitting is nothing but the splitting of 5 degenerate orbitals of the central metal atom or ion under the influence of the approaching ligands into two sets of orbitals having different energies is called as the crystal field splitting. Okay, so crystal field splitting is nothing but when the ligands approaches the central metal atom or ion, these 5 degenerate orbitals will split up into two sets of energy levels. One is the T2G set of energy and another one is EG set of energy. Okay, so this is called as the crystal field splitting. Okay, under the influence of the ligands, the 5 degenerate orbitals will split up into two sets of two sets of orbitals having different energies is called as the crystal field splitting.